deck, getting hit multiple times. Coming out of that bike section, more drivers coming to blows.
Is the brake on your new pedal set not meeting your expectations? If so, let D-Nut Stuff transform your braking experience. D-Nut Stuff has brake mods for Thrustmaster TLCMs, Husingveld Sprints, Mosa SRPs, Fanatec CSL Elite V1 and V2s, SimJack Pros, and UT sets. We are always working on adding new pedal sets and more, so check back often. Does your feet hurt after a session of sim racing? Are you tired of the distraction from sore heels? If so, D-Nut Stuff has the solution for you. Our heel pads add support and comfort for your feet, so those long races are no longer painful. We can make a heel pad for pretty much any pedal set and even add your custom logo. So get one today. You won't regret it.
Greetings, race fans, and welcome back to the American Muscle Series on Slow Motion Broadcasting. JR Gregory here with you on the call alongside the multi-talented Joshua Wilkie on production and commentary tonight. And this week brings us about 45 miles down the Florida Turnpike from last week's venue, the Homestead Raceway, to the new Miami Grand Prix circuit. On September 2nd, 2021, this track was officially named as the Miami International Autodrome. Following years of discussions between city officials, business owners, and sponsors, it is 5.4 clicks long, 3.3 miles, 19 corners. The current race lap record of 1:29.708 was set by Max Verstappen back in 2023. And Josh, pretty unique track here. Design includes a kind of difficult low-speed stadium section, I guess, that navigates under a couple of freeway flyovers, one of the significant landmarks around here. A couple of very long straightaways, and those concrete walls are never far away. So what are you looking for out of these competitors and out of these Mustangs tonight?
Yeah, JR, we were talking a little bit in the run-up here about Miami, and I'm not really super familiar with this track, but those two kind of characteristics you mentioned there are the ones I am familiar with, and maybe most people are familiar with as well, as that little stadium section. Very difficult from what I've seen. Those two curbs can take you out. Also, the very long straightaway on the back, I think, is going to play a role in tonight, being able to get that draft. Get 2, maybe 3 wide. Also pretty wide place around here too. You can pass around here as far as I know. And it's a pretty beautiful looking track, I must say as well, especially on the iRacing service here. They've done a really good job of scanning this one, and it's a pretty track to drive around for sure.
Yeah, definitely very Miami color scheme out here.
Absolutely.
With that pastel blue. And last time I was out here, I was calling an F3 race, little open wheelers, and I got to tell you, they definitely did not like those curbs that you mentioned through that 12, 13, 14, 15 complex. But I've said it before, and I'll beat that dead horse again. These Mustangs tend to kind of float over those curbs like Grandma's Cadillac, so I'm kind of curious to see how they do, and I have a feeling that these drivers are going to be able to straighten out that very tough section. I think we're coming up on it right here, actually, underneath the freeway overpass. I think these cars will be able to straighten that out quite a bit and kind of abuse those curbs. And riding along with Matt Thompson right now, let's see what he is able to do, unless I completely misconstrued where we were on the course.
Oh, I see.
But yeah.
Coming into it now, I think. There we go.
Yeah, fair enough. Yep, there it is. Yep. And the Mustang just devouring that curb like it's not even there. And this exit right here, by the time this one's over, where you saw Thompson get close to the wall there, that wall is going to be covered in tire marks and covered in body paint. That is a rough spot right there. And another thing you mentioned about the width of this track, I think that this track is going to invite a lot of side-by-side, and we just may, see some lapses in judgment in 2 and 3 wide entries into some of these corners. These drivers have done really well, though, and actually I was expecting a little bit of carnage at Red Bull Ring a couple weeks ago. Very tough track, but these drivers really showed up and handled that very, very well. Drove a very clean race on a difficult and technical course, so I'm really expecting more of the same tonight. And man, this is a long circuit, Josh. Already almost 5 minutes into qualifying, and the time's just starting to trickle in here. We're seeing provincial pole right now bailing with a 2:16.2, and the times coming in very, very close to one another. So it sure looks like these drivers have put in their practice time and have come to party here in Miami.
Yeah, I think you're right for sure. It looks pretty tight already here with these first laps coming in. And yeah, that did take a while to get those in, didn't it? This is a pretty big facility here. A lot of ground to cover for sure. And that can make things a little bit difficult as well. I know personally myself, when the track gets really wide and really long, you can kind of feel like it's hard to find a line, at least for me anyway. There's just so many opportunities out there to miss your turn in or perhaps turn in early or late. It's just kind of hard to find yourself every once in a while on the track. I don't have too much experience around here, but it does look like there's some of that around here as well. And you're right, these Mustangs just eating the curbs up. So I don't think we're going to see some of the same dramatic things that we've seen under the bridge there in the more technical area like we saw. I was watching a bit of that F4 race, I believe, a few weeks back, or maybe it was the F3 race, and it was really damaging, or it was being very punishing to those cars. Very difficult to get through this section in an F4 car clean. And you can just see Evel Knievel here just munching that up. It was like it's not there pretty much. That wall right there, you're right, JR, that's maybe my first experience really looking at it, and the curb kind of spits you out into the corner, and it looks like you just kind of have to whoa it up before the wall's there.
Yeah, it absolutely does. You can launch off that inside curb, but the track falling away from you there, so the car is lightening up already. If you launch off the curb, it's going to get even lighter, and kind of bad camber right into that wall, and you saw just a little kiss right there. I'm not sure who we were following there, but yeah, that is going to be problematic. And here we go with Andy Bell, and yeah, the curbs are not going to deter these Mustangs at all. Although, I don't have a lot of seat time in these cars, Josh, and you can correct me here if I'm wrong. As you see, Bell just, as I said, completely undeterred by those curbs. He's cutting those corners like a maniac and straightening that section out. But when these cars in the high-speed stuff, there's a lot of S's around here, and in the high-speed stuff, when these cars take a set, they don't like mid-corner corrections very much. So you kind of have to be precise on turn in, commit to that line, and kind of thread the needle in some of the fast stuff. And if you don't, I don't think these cars respond really super well to transitional stuff and changing your steering angle in the middle of a corner.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. There's, not a whole lot of tire on a car with a fair amount of power and a considerable amount of weight. I don't think they're sprung super sophisticated either. So you have a car in your hands that you really have to think about corners and stuff. You got to really set stuff up, and you're right. I don't think the mid corner, any sort of input you're going to put into a mid corner, it's going to really appreciate or like a whole bunch. I think that's probably why we see the racing that we do as well, JR, is you really do have to kind of think out a move in this. You can't really just dive up the inside of somebody on the brakes and hope that you're really going to have to slow that car down and get the momentum going and slow the car down and get the momentum stop, is what I mean to say. And it can be really difficult. So you have to think those moves out. And I think that's probably why we see it so clean. You just got to think a little more. Things happen a little slower. And, you can't get out of it with the gas and the brake like you can in some vehicles.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and qualifying already winding down, and these cars had to go almost 7 miles before recording their first qualifying lap here. So they're not going to get a lot of laps in right now. It is Bailing from Blount from Parrish up top. Bailing almost cracking that 216 barrier in the Challengers. It is Cone from Thompson from Levi Powell. That's 9, 11, and 14 overall. Andy Bell thrown down the gauntlet. We showed some in-car footage of him beating the car over those curbs that we have been discussing, way up into the top 10 as out of the M class. So it's Bell from Sacchetti from Colin Olson in your amateur category, and that's 8, 15, and 20 on the overall standings. But qualifying winding down here in a hurry. We are told by the race admins that this is a full fuel load that these Mustangs will take off with. So no pit stops. And so you've got to put your head down and grind laps off out here for an extended 45-minute ride. And it is going to get sweaty out here, Josh, before this one's over on the Miami Grand Prix circuit.
Yeah, I think 100% you're right. Some of the things we touched on there, the width of this place, just watching some of the drivers around here too, it looks to me like they're enjoying it. It looks fun to kind of sling this thing through this section here. We're seeing some opposite lock. I think it's going to be a really good night. And I like that every once in a while we switch it back and forth from the pit to no pit. Both have their advantages and disadvantages, and I love to be able to kind of see both of them in one season here. But we have a grid coming. It's a pretty big one to get through, so let's get her started.
All right, we're going to fly through this grid while we're waiting for these cars to grid up. It's going to be Bailing up front next to Neil Kemp. Taylor Blount will line up next to Kevin Parrish in 3 and 4. Jeff Schnackle does a pretty good job today in qualifying, gets up to P5 next to David Fench in 6. David Moore will line up next to Andy Bell, as I said, your first amateur driver there in P8. Then it's Cone, your first challenger in 9 next to Fernandez. Thompson will be number 2 and challenger next to Brennan in row 6. And then it's Ron Wolf next to Jay Bass. Levi Powell next to Chuck Labano. P2 in M, that's Joe Sacchetti next to Freddie Weaver. Then Brian Kennedy next to Daniel Gabaldon, which I'm saying that's a
Yeah, you got her.
15th
Gabalden.
different way.
Yep.
I pronounced that one. Then Gazenda next to Colin Olson. Brandon Smith next to Jeff Andrus. And a little scrollio there. We get close to the last screen. Then Brandon Smith, Hosey next to Andy Kosick in 25 and 26. Sanchonelli will line up next to Scott Brooks in 27 and 28. Then D-Nut Stuff's very own Mike Nickum will line up next to Aaron Bray. Tom Went will line up next to Dave Blitter. And John Casey from the Frito Sport team will bring up the rear in P33. And I'm going to take a breath right now. Time ticking down. We got about 30 seconds remaining. That is Bailing lined up to your right there in that multicolored number 24 car. And taking a quick peek here at my track map, he is going to have the outside line into turn one, so he's going to have to keep an eye on Kemp and maybe close off an attack down the inside off of this standing start. And we do have, and we straightened this out last week, Josh. I'm going to say that these cars do have anti-lock brakes, but no TC. Is that right?
I believe that's correct. Yeah, I think we got corrected last week on that exact point there, and we got a start here. Look at that land rush start, JR. This is going to be a scary one into T1.
Yeah, absolutely. And here we go. We are underway. Kemp gets away clean, and Parrish moving up. A couple cars moving up. Schnackle moves up too. Well, I was looking at Ballant to maybe make a move. He did not get that done. Falls to P5. It's Bailing from Kemp, from Parrish, from Schnackle, from Ballant, and Andy Bell up 2 already. And Bell fans have got to be delighted and a little bit nervous. His nearest competitor is Sacchetti back in P16. He is literally 10 positions up right now, and all he's got to do is keep it on the track, and he's going to have an easy win here. But it's hard to tell that to a race car driver as Bell pushes forward, and you see Bailing.
Oh, boy.
Kemp right there. A little
Oh, he
smooch
keeps
right
it out
there.
of the wall.
Ooh, elbows out.
Wow.
Almost stuffs that one into the wall. And this is the kind of action that I thought we might see here, especially on the early laps. We have got 33 cars wending their way down this Miami Street course, Josh, and here we go. And could that be a little bump drafting down that long back section between turn 8 and turn 11? It's not straight, but it might as well be. Oh, and a big wreck there. Somebody turned into the inside wall, and
that's
here
Neil
comes
Kemp.
the big one, and more traffic coming in. Cars going evasive, a T-bone, and it is demolition derby as somebody backing out there. Don't move, folks. When 30 cars are coming through, oh my goodness, that multicolor car backed into somebody and caused more of a problem. That is that might have been Kemp, actually. My goodness, keep picking up the meatball and heading into the pit. So Kemp overwhelmed with the red mist and a little ugliness here, Josh, on lap 1.
Yeah, that was ugly for sure. I think maybe what we just witnessed there was a bit of a failure of a bump draft, and it looks like Kevin Parrish maybe got into the back of Neil Kemp. It turned him, and it just set off a massive accident there. We lost our leaders off of there, along with a few other competitors as well, and now it's between Jeff Schnackle and Andy Bell here. Up front, Mark Cohn just behind him, Taylor Ballant, David Fernandez down to 5th place there. So we lost pretty much our front 2 runners there. Neil Kemp with the meatball flag. Wow, we're going to have to go back and have a look at that, but I think I maybe peeped possibly Parrish just getting a little too hard or maybe a little bit too late down that straightaway into Neil Kemp there. We'll see exactly what happened, and yeah, wow, that was a big one.
Yeah, wild stuff, and these drivers have been driving very, very clean and really handling these kind of F1 style tracks very well, and shout out to them for that. But and here is the replay right now, and bump draft gone bad, and it goes from bad to worse. And oh my goodness, pro tip, kids, when the yellow comes out, that doesn't mean it's an opportunity to pick up a couple positions. It means be careful. And you saw the results right there, a big pileup. And Josh, maybe we can get that. Oh, there's another look at it. Oh my goodness, 100+ miles an hour for sure into the concrete. But when we get that timing back up, maybe you can show the relative position changes. It is crazy up top. Schnackle, your leader, is up 4. Andy Bell, sitting in P2, is up 6. And Bell is an AM driver. Mark Cohn, sitting in P3, is also up 6. So the podium right now, 1, 2, and 3, picked up 16 positions during that kerfuffle, and all 3 classes represented right there. And the list goes on. Fernandez up 4 in P6, Ron Wolf up 6 in P7, Thompson up 3. So that was an absolute catastrophe for some of our leaders. And of course, at the bottom of the list, Bailing minus 30, Neil Kemp still sitting in the pits taking repairs, lost 31. Looks like Parrish lost 20. So that was quite a mess right there. They're going to be deconstructing that for some time. I know they do have stewarding here, and they're going to be trying to figure out who is at fault. We'll ride along with Bast here as he tries to keep cool. And go evasive. And that's Kemp backing right into it. Bast doing the right thing there, Josh, taking it slow, going way outside. Kemp backs right into him, and that has got to hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. Those situations in the car are so hard sometimes to know. Sometimes it does feel like the right thing to do, that my nose is sticking way out here and I need to get it out of the way of everyone. And you're not expecting somebody to take that. As we see, I believe that was Andrew Kosick smacking the wall there. Looks like he's going to get away with it for now. But I've been in this situation, where I feel like backing up's the right idea. And then you back into somebody who's taking evasive action. And, as we know, and as I think most drivers know, it's best always just to lock it down. Even if you think you're going to get doored, you just got to lock it down. It's kind of always the best way to do it. But unfortunate for everybody there. We lost kind of our leaders, maybe no more. Worse off there is, I believe that was Bailing, maybe, that was just caught up in it and doing so well today. Real bummer.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're absolutely right about that painful feeling sitting on the track. You feel like you should do something, you probably shouldn't. And
Yep.
Josh, you and I were at Bathurst, and I was facing the wrong way out of Murray's Corner during the 12-hour on Saturday. And I was like, can I go? Can I go? Can I go?
That's right, yeah.
And Josh said no. And I had to sit there and watch about 20 cars go by. We clawed back. We did okay. But my sympathies to Kemp. I know exactly how he's feeling. And up front, check out Jeff Schnackle, Andy Bell, and Mark Cohn, the same 3. Although, wait a minute. I thought Moore had something going there. We got Moore and Blount sniffing around behind Cohn, but our perfect mixed podium of Pro, Challenger, and AM still hanging on Schnackle from Bell, from Cohn. Then it's David Moore, Blount, Fernandez, Wolf, Thompson, Fench, and Levi Powell rounding up the top 10 in what has been a wild start here in Miami. We've got about 33 minutes left and a huge shuffling. Another car, Meatball out of Kennedy, Josh, I'm seeing. I'm not sure what happened with him, but it looks like Kemp may be back underway. Looks like he had about a 5-minute pit stop for repairs. He's 2 laps down. Looks like he is rejoining the action here, and something has happened to Kennedy, and look at Fernandez.
Wowzers. That was Wolf, I believe, actually. I think that was, maybe not. Yeah, I think that might have been Wolf up the inside there. That was getting it wound up. I think maybe, just maybe, he kind of overcooked it a little bit there and was pretty clenched on that one, but he was able to pull it out and get it done. So, but pretty good stuff there for sure. And it's like we were saying in the run-up, we're going to see stuff like that around here. A lot of side-by-side. It's going to be about decision-making. You got to make some good decisions out here about when and where to pass and keep that momentum up. You could really end up slipping backwards fast around here if you stab your nose into too many corners like that. All it's going to do is drive you backwards. So, if I was out there, I was mid-pack. If I was in this pack up at the front here, the likes of Taylor Ballant, David Moore, Mark Cohn, Andy Bell, there's a win on the books here for you. If you can keep it together, you can keep that momentum with this pack in the front, I'd be salivating over it, especially the likes of Taylor Ballant. He's taken quite a few wins in a few seasons here. Had a bit of a rough one this season. This could be his chance to get some passes here and maybe make one happen. But Jeff Schnackle pulling away at the moment by the looks.
Yeah, Schnackle looking good. It looks like Bell might be holding up Cohn a little bit, but Schnackle has extended that lead to P2 back to about 1 1/4 seconds now. Schnackle lighting the wick. And, another thing, Josh, about getting aggressive early, sticking your nose in, coming off of some of these high-speed sections. You're seeing it right here. That 16 to 17 back straightaway is immense. And they are deep into top gear and getting close to terminal velocity right there. And if you stick your nose in there, lap after lap after lap, doing your head fake, showing your nose, trying to make something happen, and if you're not closing the deal, those front tires are going to suffer. We haven't talked about tires yet, but 40 minutes out here, is an awful long time.
Ooh, what a shot.
Right up to the concrete. A great shot by Josh there, catching that action. But, the folks who are being a little too racy, showing their nose on the inside, coming off of some of these high-speed sections, are going to go through those fronts, and we're going to see them washing out on entry as the race goes on. And here is a move for P2 as Moore tries to stick it inside of Cone. He gets that done, and that is coming off that back straightaway I was talking about. A little left-right-hander will lead onto the pit straight, and another lap will commence here. But non-stop action so far, 10 minutes out of 40. It is Schnackle from David Moore, from Mark Cone, and somewhere while I was running my mouth there, Andy Bell has fallen out of podium positions. Looks like he's lost about 3 positions, had been in P2, fallen to P5. But Bell fans, don't worry, because he has a solid lead in P1. His next competitor is Sicchetti, and it looks like, my gosh, about 20 or 30 seconds behind him. So Bell just needing to hang on to snatch the win here.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, there are battles all over the track right now for sure. We are back here. I believe this is for about 8th place. Maybe Ron Wolf up in 7th here. And they're just dicing it out again. So some great racing. That was that big slide we saw from Matt Thompson a little bit earlier there near the wall. Just an awesome shot. And Andy Bell doing really well. I think he's thinking in the car there today, I think. He knows, he hasn't run up front with these guys too many times. I know what it's like to kind of get some speed out of track. And all of a sudden you find yourself beside the 3 fastest guys in the league. And it's hard to stay up there with them. You realize, the pace they're running at for 40 minutes can be a little bit over your head, and I think he's kind of done the right thing here. Let them go, let it breathe a little bit, see if he can learn something from them maybe, and retain his first place. We're going to see Matt Thompson look up the inside of Ron Wolf. Not quite going to get it done, and then we have, I believe that might be Bast. Was that Bast? Bast is going to get a spin out of that one, unfortunately. So again, in sympathy to the move there, it looks like we've lost a car, but yeah, you can see very good visualization there of when a move doesn't work out, how slow that corner can be.
Yeah, it really can. And man, this track, we talked about in the lead up, it is so wide here. And you go through places like those S's, there's so many lines, and get a little bit of a draft. It invites side-by-side entries and side-by-side racing through some of those S sections, particularly like 8, 9, and 10 on that long kind of pseudo initial straightaway there. Not really a straightaway, but it might as well be. You're running it through the gears, getting to terminal velocity. Taking a look now at where are we? That is Hosey right now. So much action out here. It's Hosey with Bast and Gabaldon behind. Brandon Smith sniffing around there as well. That little train right there, Hosey from Bast, from Gabaldon from Smith, that is for P12, and hot racing all up and down this grid. And speaking of hot, oh my goodness, maybe we could get that weather widget up here. As you might expect,
find it.
Miami, Florida. A
pretty
comfortable ambient temp of 82, but look at that track temperature, 118 degrees, and local time on track looks like it's coming up on 4 p.m. and that temperature is probably still going to increase. So brutal track temperatures to deal with when you're trying to get around here safely and take care of your tires for the long run. And it looks like bailing is rolling through. That is a drive-through penalty, and that must have come from the live stewards here. And they're going to send bailing through the pits, and bailing now sits in P26. And I'm not that good at math, but that sounds like about a 25 position drop for bailing. Ouch.
Oof. Yep, you nailed it. You're better at math than you thought. That's 25 positions down. That's not something anybody ever wants to see. And I know Andrew Bailing, he's been having a bit of bad luck like this over the season as well. So, keep it up. You'll get there. You got the speed. You were up front today. That one, that one's going to sting a little bit because he had the speed today, I think, to podium this car. And now it's running around with no bumper in 26th place actually now. So, yeah, unfortunate for Andrew, but he'll be back for another one, and we'll get, hopefully he can have some more speed. Tracks like this, not easy to stay alive on. We touched on some points at the beginning. There's curbs, there's walls. You're not just racing the competitor around here. You really are racing the track, and the track and some competitors kind of bit him a little bit today.
Yeah, and not sure what is going on with Ron Wolf, but I was just watching him plummeting down the timing tower. Looks like he just lost 4 or 5 positions. Looks like he's still moving, but he had taken advantage of some of the kerfuffleage up front and had moved up. And we'll take a look at him right here in the number 19 car.
Oh.
And whoop! There you go.
Punt.
Yeah, he got a little help there. Did a pretty good job getting that Mustang turned around, but did cost him some positions. And while it's fun to do that little quick 180 to get the car turned around, it roasts those back tires and costs you some time while those tire temps settle down in the rear. And I know Wolf is not happy about getting that tap from behind in that stadium complex, Josh.
No, not at all. Kind of an easy place to do it where you're sort of off the brake, kind of trying to let the car roll over that curb, I would imagine. You're kind of trying to be, fingers and toes on it through that section, and it's pretty easy, I think, to try to let the car roll and just bump the guy in front of you a little bit. And it looks like that's kind of what happened. He's trying to keep the momentum up. We know, these guys race really clean. They're never trying to hit each other like that. We will actually maybe try to catch up with some of our incidents here, because we have quite a few, and I'm not exactly sure what these are going to be. So we got somebody driving around without their front left on here, so that happened a little bit ahead of here. Let's see if we can't find what happened to Brian Kennedy, and he's already, this may be from this first, no, it is going to be something here. So let's see what happened to the 111. Wow, way overcooked it there, and a bit of an not overcorrection, but just couldn't keep it out of the wall. And then he's going to go around a lap hurt by the looks of it here. I'll get you to have a look, maybe, JR, at this next one. It looks like maybe Aaron Bray, Dave Blair, Andrew Bailing got into something here.
Oh, wow. And the timing tower is having fits right now. Not really sure what happened to those front runners that you mentioned. Oh, my goodness. That is a traffic jam. Was that caused by Blair up front there?
That's fairly recent, that one.
Yeah, and really quickly, I know we're looking at incidents, Josh, but on your Taylor Ballant watch, you mentioned him being in position to maybe take advantage of some of the leaders getting knocked out early, and he is clawing his way up. Right now, he's running in P3, only a 1.5 second gap ahead to Schnackle, and plenty of time to make something happen. So you gave the Joshy blessing to Ballant, and told him and his fans that he may be able to make something happen here, make lemonade out of lemons of Neil Kemp and others, and he is pedaling his ass off right now. And as I said, plenty of time left, 25 minutes remaining, and less than 2-second gap to the lead. So can Ballant make that happen and finish on the top step in Miami? Good stuff out here.
Yeah, he has been kind of munching away at the competition here. He saw a few pretty clean passes he made earlier there, and he's got some speed out there for sure. So I would expect that he's gonna keep moving up. I thought maybe he heard me there when maybe he's listening to the broadcast and light the fire up under him a little bit. I know he's been looking for a better result out there, so hopefully we can get one today. But if Dave Moore and Jeff Schnackle have anything to say about it, that's not going to necessarily happen. He does have more than enough time to make it happen here, but Dave Moore and Jeff Schnackle putting in pretty good times right at the beginning of this session as well. So we'll have a look here in a minute, maybe at some sector times and some lap times, see if we can make some sense of kind of what their pace might be. But again, we got races all over the track here. Colin E. Olson, 16th place side by side here. I believe that's with Freddie Weaver. He's won a bunch. He got promoted to Challenger this season, I believe. Doing a pretty good job over here. Probably going to get that position on the inside here. One of our gigantic flat-out sections, the not-so-straight, I'd call it.
The not-so-straight. I will definitely endorse that. And, when you mentioned Ballant munching away at that lead, you can't not think about sandwiches. And I'll tell you what, we have all been there. You're staring at a menu of sad, cold corporate sandwiches and thinking, there has got to be something better than this. And at Chiba Hut, we've been flipping the bird to the status quo since 1998. We're not just making sandwiches, we're curing the munchies with the dankest toasted subs on the planet. From our signature White Widow to the Cali Mist, every sub is homegrown, toasted to perfection, and served up in a joint where you can actually relax. And if you need to kill that cottonmouth, we've got local craft beers on tap, plenty of Kool-Aid to keep you hydrated. So whether you're stopping in or we're flying it to your door, we have got exactly what you need to stay stoked. Chiba Hut Toasted Subs. Swing by our shop in your area or order online. Chiba Hut, toasted since 1998.
Man, I wish I had one of those near me. I went on their website a couple times. I'm looking at it. They got some great ads, and they got some really, really nice looking food there as well. I wish we had one near me, but hey, if you got one near you, definitely go check that out. We really, really thank the sponsorship there for the AMS series here. We've been really enjoying it, and you can see it pasted all over the cars there, so we know the guys are loving it out there too. But Jeff Schnackle up front here still holding on to it. Dave Moore doesn't really look like he's making a whole lot of headway, neither does Taylor Ballant. We're kind of rubber banding a little bit back and forth here. Just as I say that, looks like Dave Moore maybe took a chunk out of Jeff there, but still kind of just trying to hold pace here. Going to be interesting to see who can hold it out, and I wonder about those tires by the end of this around here.
Yeah, we got to be getting close, and I'm going to say with about 10 to 15 minutes remaining, which is about 10 minutes away right now. These there is my math again. Is that right? That is right. Miraculously. We are going to be seeing some tire problems. We're going to be seeing the folks who didn't take care of their rubber being exposed out here. And Ballant still hanging around. It looks like there's a lot of dicing in action in front of him between Schnackle and Moore, but that might be just what Ballant wants to see. Ballant has thrown down the fast lap out here, a 2:16.277, about a tenth quicker than Moore, and substantially larger gaps to pretty much everyone else on the track. So Ballant has lit the wick here at the halfway point. He's got 20 minutes left, and Josh, you uttered those words of wisdom earlier about biding your time and just taking advantage of the draft, resting your tires, and making sure that they're ready to help you out down the stretch when you need to make something happen.
Yeah, absolutely. If I'm, I always like to, be in position. Maybe second, third, fourth. Leading can be tough, and you can blow your tires off a lot easier, I find. It all comes down really to the comfort you have around the track. If you can kind of be light on the wheel, not using all the muscles in your body to hold the car together on every lap, usually that's going to translate down to the rubber as well. And if you can get comfortable, it's a little easier to get comfortable sometimes in the following position, I find. So if I was Taylor Ballant, and it looks like that's kind of what he's doing, he hacked away at kind of some drivers there, put some pressure on, made a couple passes. Then you kind of want to mellow out a little bit here, probably till the last 15 minutes or so, and really start pushing again, see if you can get those tires to work for you. But it looks also here like Mark Cohn, and it could be part of this story here pretty quick if these guys keep fighting. And it does look now like Taylor Ballant is looking at Dave Moore for a way by, and it's not going to be easy to do it around here. You can catch somebody, all fine and good. You still got to get around them, and you can see Taylor Ballant looking for lines out there for sure.
Yeah, got to get around them safely, and this track is full of left-right, left combos where, you can get it down the inside, but your competitor's going to have the inside line in the following corner. So you kind of have to, you got to think three-dimensional chess and think your way through a sequence of corners and not just the one that's right in front of you. And folks, don't forget, we've got three classes running out here. We got 3 podiums, so let me just run through those with you. Schnackle from Moore, from Ballant in the pro category. Then Mark Cohn, you just saw him in P4. That is P1 in the Challenger. And then it is Powell and Thompson to round out that podium here just after the halfway point. They are running in 7 and 8. Then Andy Bell, we talked about him. He's still hanging on there in P6. So that is P1 for your amateurs. Sacchetti in P2 and Colin Olson in P3. So that is 6, 12, and 16. So pretty good mix of cars up and down this field. We had the kerfuffle initially that kind of mixed things up, but things settling in, and Andy Bell was fast out here right off the bat, and none of these drivers here in the top 10 are slouches, and they are proving that. Nobody's driving away. There are some very tight intervals going on right now, and something is going to break in this top 3 before this one's over. Josh, Schnackle, Moore, and Ballant separated by 0.8 of a second right now.
Yeah, definitely. It's starting to tighten up for sure. Steering rack's starting to tighten up for sure. We're getting into the wee hours now, so you're definitely starting to think about where that move is going to happen. And, I don't think really lap times are going to be super representative in this pack of who might be able to make it up front. They're all pretty darn close at the moment. Getting a bit of a draft perhaps on one lap, and then maybe not so much on another one. So we can see some sectors there, more looking like he's pulling a few green sectors there. But again, that's probably just going to be, again, because of a bit of a draft and some braking. They are rubber banding back and forth at the moment. It's going to be interesting to see here if some moves can be done by the end of this. And move back here to Charlie Hosey and Matt Thompson, still fighting out here. Sorry, that's Matt Thompson and Levi Powell. Hosey and Jay Bass and Ron Wolf still locked in a battle here. Ron Wolf on the comeback tour a bit from that unfortunate punt in that stadium section there, and he's now looking hopefully not to punt someone else in the same position he was in here. So yeah, got a pretty good view of the race happening in front of him here. See if he can't get by someone, make up another position.
Yeah, it's some great looking liveries on those cars. And as we take a look at that trio, Charlie Hosey is in there with the number 100 car, and a shout out to him. He's running in P9 right now, Josh. That is a plus 16. Hosey qualifying in P25. So Hosey paddling, and hoping to hang on. I have a feeling that this may be one of his better finishes so far in the season. Don't have it in front of me, but he is feeling good about the way things are so far. About 15 minutes remaining, and I told you the tire witching hour is right around the corner. Within the next 5 or 10 minutes, we're going to see those drivers who have not taken care of those front tires, and they're going to suffer down the stretch here. And riding along with Hosey right now, Hosey fans cheering him on. But that plus 16 out here in this field, Josh, on this difficult track, nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, definitely right. You got to finish these races. We're just watching them go through the tight bits here. There's walls, there's attenuators, there's other cars, there's curbs. There's a lot of stuff out there to end your race, and finishing is a big deal. And if you can keep it clean and finish on a hard street course like this, you're generally going to get a pretty good position out of it. Charlie Hosey perhaps more than most here with the 16 positions up into 9th place, so in the top 10. I think that is going to be one of his better finishes on a difficult track like this as well. You can see him again just navigating some of these very difficult sections here where you're just clenching, hoping that curb treats you nicely this time, and that wall doesn't come too much into your view or into your windshield, using every last inch of the track that you possibly can here, but still fighting behind them as well. So we'll see if he can hold them off. He's doing a darn good job of it so far.
Yeah, he absolutely is, and he has got his work cut out for him. That is Ron Wolf and Jay Bass, 2 pros behind him, and all 3 of those cars covered by about 8/10. So Hosey definitely having his work cut out for him here, and see if he can withstand the pressure here for about another 14 minutes. And here's a quick look at Gabaldon too. Here is another little train forming. That is for P12. That's Sacchetti from Gabaldon from Weaver. And again, all 3 of those cars covered by about 6/10. So these long straightaways, Josh, I think are kind of sucking these cars together with a little bit of slipstream action. They don't have the massive slipstream that some of the cars we cover have, but obviously the draft is working a little bit right here, and riding along with Weaver, looking at those 2 cars ahead. Weaver right now looks like he's sitting in about P6 in his class, P14 overall, and Gabaldon in front of him is in his class. So that is a fight for position right here as we come off of that back non-straight and into that very, very tough stadium section. And here we go.
Yeah, this is kind of where you make your money here. Oh, and Gabaldon's going to get a bit loose. It looks like Weaver actually got into him a little bit there, doing the right thing, kind of backing out of it, so he didn't fully turn him. But honestly, Gabaldon and Weaver and Ron Wolf here have been battling the entire race pretty much with someone or another. Weaver going to get kind of pinched out on that one. Nowhere to go, really. He's getting bullied right now. Holy smokes. He needs to definitely hold it together here. That was, he gets pushed off the track and then actually got kind of bullied almost into the wall by another driver, losing a few positions there after that bump. So, again, just sort of proving, you can be out there. You can be as clean as you want. It looks like somebody threw a shoulder at him there as well, trying to get him out of the way, perhaps. Yeah, maybe a little bit of argy-bargy going on between these 2 drivers here. Somebody's not too happy at the moment. Schnackle getting, I believe that's Chuck Labano getting a front row seat here. We'll have to keep an eye on this for a minute. Hopefully it won't boil over too much. But Gabaldon gonna win out on that one. He has been fighting all night. I've seen him in some sort of a battle of some kind all evening, and it looks like he's made it out of that one clean.
Yeah, and we saw Freddie Weaver get absolutely swamped there underneath those freeway flyover sections there, and not only did he get swamped, he cut the course pretty significantly there and got a slowdown to add insult to injury. Weaver nonetheless still up 2, but not close to what he had going before. Let's jump back up front. And you mentioned Mark Cohn was enjoying watching the fighting ahead. Oh, and disaster strikes.
No.
Oh, my goodness. And that was Ballant into the 13, unlucky 13 car. And that is going to put Schnackle in P1. Mark Cohn finds himself in P2, and Fernandez will be promoted into P3. After that, let's watch that again. And that is Ballant coming up behind. Who is he hitting there?
So that's Dave Moore in the Evel Knievel car. Dave Moore, yeah. So again, I think we're seeing the same thing that happened earlier, JR, where you're trying to keep that momentum up. You're trying to keep your feet off the pedals in that scenario. The car's in the air. You're hitting a curb. You don't want to be on the brake and you don't want to be on the gas, but there's a car in front of you and maybe a little slow. And it just let it roll into him. Again, I'm going to chalk that up to, honestly, you need to just race this course some more and learn sort of the characteristics and its quirks and so on, and stuff like that stops happening, I think. But that's the second time we've seen the very same incident there, where just looks like momentum's trying to be kept up and unfortunately into the back of the car in front.
Yeah, tough stuff there from Ballant. Definitely had something going. I'm sure that he took some body damage there. As you see
Love that
nice
shot.
drift. Yeah, that is a great shot. That nice drift out of turn 16 onto the back straight. And I told you that the track falls away from me right there. There's some bad camber right there, and very tough to put the power down. Here is one more look at Ballant. Bang, going into the back of Moore.
To do.
And that one actually sent Moore to the pits. Moore has taken a tow, and I think he is stationary. He's stationary for 3 minutes getting repaired. I think he is back underway, but yeah, nobody wanted that to turn out the way it did, except maybe Jeff Schnackle sitting in
running
P1
away now, yeah.
with a 9-second gap behind to David Fernandez. And Schnackle is going to be snacking on another P1 here if he can just hang on for another 9 minutes and change.
Yeah, absolutely. David Fernandez winning out pretty big on that one as well. So yeah, looking good. He's up in second place now as well. Schnackle just running away with this one, unfortunately, after that incident. I'm going to see if I can actually get a view maybe of what Fernandez saw coming into this here. And it should just be either cars gone because they towed or some people in the road. And he's actually having trouble through this section all on his own as well. So you know what? He's just going to look like he is just going to adopt those positions. People are already cleaned up pretty much. Nope. There's Dave Moore still trying to get it straightened out. And he's going to get a bunch of positions from that. Wow. We've seen a lot of attrition here tonight, JR. Not as much. Not expecting quite as much attrition as we have seen out of the American Muscle Series guys. But honestly, this track is super hard and it's brand new to the service. And it doesn't really surprise me. Schnackle also letting her loose around that corner. Perhaps that's just the way you do it. I love it.
Could be a little driving technique there, and it could be those rear tires starting to fade. There's a couple spots on this track where you have to put the power down coming out of fairly low-speed corners, and that is certainly one of them. We've seen some drifting, and the slip angle of these Mustangs seeming to get more and more intense as the time ticks away there, and it looks like Hosey might have picked up a slowdown. That is that yellow flag you see on our timing tower. But Schnackle definitely loving what he's seeing on his relative. A 9-second gap back to Fernandez. Fernandez has got a decent second half gap back to Cohn. Cohn has Ballant behind him. And that did not turn out too well for Moore, having Ballant closely following, although I'm sure Taylor is probably be a little more careful here with just a couple of minutes left and take the points that he can get. But field spread out is a little bit here, Josh, down the stretch. There is a nice move from Labano's going to get Gabaldon, and that is not for position. That car not racing against him, but you see that opening, you got to stick it in there.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to race sometimes, right? Even every once in a while, it'll actually help the momentum of the pack. If you have a little more speed, you can maybe avoid an accident if there's some braking differences and so on. Freddie Weaver looking up the inside here. It looks like this is one of those tracks where you can kind of press square to intimidate like that. You can get kind of beside somebody. There's enough room to sort of push them wide take the line away from them. And then, man, if you kind of get caught out, hung out to dry on the outside there, I have seen, multiple cars get by, the passee, I guess we'll call them. It's really hard to kind of stem the bleeding around here if there's other cars behind you. I guess maybe that's a characteristic of a lot of tight road courses like this one with walls everywhere. But yeah, again, a lot of attrition out there, a lot of fighting back and forth. Schnackle, on the other hand, just kind of out front in free air, having some fun here. I believe that's a lap car behind him, so you're not going to have to worry about that. He probably just got by that car. But I think this is a scenario of pretty new track. Not a lot of, I'm sure they've done enough practice around here, but you need to race, at a track a couple times to really understand where you can make those things happen and where you can't, and so on. And we saw a little bit of fumbling, some kind of tripped up passes, especially through this section here where you're just kind of tiptoes and fingertips.
Yeah, too right. And tiptoes and fingertips is a great way to put it. As you said, the tendency probably to overslow, and you want to keep that momentum going across the apex, let the car roll, as you said. And that has resulted in a couple of rear enders if people were able to maintain a little bit more speed through there than the man in front, their feet off the pedals, not wanting to touch the brakes, and just some little kisses there a couple times. And by the way, it looks like Ballant has pushed his way back onto the podium, and Schnackle from Fernandez from Ballant. Those are all pros in Challenger currently. It's Thompson from Powell from Hosey, and Thompson getting a big challenge from Levi Powell, actually only 2/10 gap in that one. In the M's, it is still Bell from Sacchetti from Colin Olson. About 5 minutes remaining here, and Weaver still weaving his way through traffic, and some more side-by-side action there. And Josh, when you're talking about all these kind of inside moves, kind of dive bomby passes that we're seeing, it kind of shows that we're not seeing a lot of defense into those. People are leaving that door open, not covering the inside, and you're seeing the result here, and that is a lot of position changes at the end of these high-speed sections.
Yeah, exactly. That's for sure. It's again, I think that has a lot to do with track knowledge. You don't quite know where to place the car yet to get to block that person out. Where should I be? That's going to be a little bit maybe green on the tracks. We're going to continue to go side by side. Gabaldon has to be sweating in that car with Freddie Weaver as well, who have just been fighting someone or another pretty much this entire race here. Not an easy place to do so. You're getting mentally kind of drained at this point in the race, as well as we're seeing the number 16 Marcone facing the wrong way. A little bit of avoidance there happening. We'll have to go back and see what happened there, but more attrition. Maybe looks like Andy Kosick also had one, perhaps wound up in that one. Let's click on Marcone here, see if we can't find out what happened. Taylor Ballant in tow. And are we going to make... Nope, looks like it was kind of on his own there. Trying to defend that position. Asked a bit too much of the car and squashed the front end of it into the wall. Bummer. Andy Kosick up here next. Looks like maybe he's alone here too. Sorry about that. I'll cut you off. One more here. And we're going to get maybe just a self-spin, perhaps. Nope, I think that was just an overslope. So it looks like he just kind of tripped over the pedals there for a sec.
Yeah, and that tire witching hour well underway here. Cone, we're accustomed to seeing him at the point end of this field. Solo spin there. Stuffs that Mustang into the wall and plummets all the way down to P17. Cone had been sniffing around the top 5, and that is now over as time ticking down here. And, so frustrating to push your way to fight in this at this sweaty track in these tough conditions, make it almost to the end, and then your tires kind of fade and cause an error like that down the stretch. Super painful as we watch Labano making his way through the twisties. We've got Brandon Smith in tow, a couple cars in tow actually. There's Weaver, Gabaldon, Olson all kind of packed together. Look back at Michael Brennan right now in the superhero car there, and that thing I don't think Josh left the factory with the hood in that configuration. So Brennan has had some run into some problems out here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You can also see, I believe it's who is behind him here on place. You know what? That's not who's actually behind him. I think it's Jeff Anders in the blue and red car behind him as well. I saw out of the corner of my eye a while ago with a spin into the wall. So there's been some action we haven't been able to cover here. There's so much out there. It looks like Michael Brennan was part of some of that action we weren't able to cover. Maybe been carrying this since the beginning. But yeah, again, just more signs of attrition out there. Up front, Taylor Ballant looking now, by the looks of it, at, I believe, no, that's Matt Thompson. So Taylor Ballant going after Matt Thompson here. Looks like we have a fight for third place with the VNM Simagic machine there and Taylor Ballant. And it looks like maybe, is that Levi Powell as well is caught up in this. So man, it's the field is so shook up today, and there's so many different names in different places. It's actually kind of hard to keep up.
Yeah, it is, and Ballant getting swamped there. You see him, that's him in the blue car. He's missing his rear body work. He's been involved in a couple of kerfuffles there. He had pushed his way all the way up into P3, just picked up a slowdown as well. Little commentator's curse. Ballant gets camera shy, cuts that corner, and picks up that slowdown. So Ballant had been on the podium just a couple laps ago, and it just shows you, as Josh said, how easy it is to get swamped around here. You have one car kind of pushes his way beside you, blows your line, and as we said, these cars aren't great at correcting mid-corner, so you're stuck with that outside line, and here comes the traffic streaming through, and all you can do is watch, and that happened to Ballant right there. And ticking down here, the white flag may be out here, depending on where Schnackle is on the course. Here he is right here, and let's see if we can figure out where he is.
Yeah, map not helping us a whole bunch there. So he's coming through now. He's actually now he's not even halfway through yet. So he's got a little bit to go here. We are going to probably be getting a white flag, maybe even a checker at the end of this one, depending on how the session is set up. But nonetheless, 12 seconds ahead. That is a big gap. So he's not having to worry too much about it. Just get this thing home. Don't hit the wall. Don't tear a wheel off. Don't spin it. And he's been doing real good, real clean so far. So I have a feeling he's going to be able to bring this one home today. But wow, what a gap, 12 seconds. And that's mainly due to attrition today. We did see that people had pace to be up here, maybe even a little bit more than Schnackle at certain points in the race. But he's been able to hold it together, stay out of everything from the beginning, and that's what happens around these street courses. We're seeing it there. David Fernandez in second, Matt Thompson in third, Levi Powell in fourth. I mean, we got some new names up front today at Miami. Not an easy track, and proving that today.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And as you said, Schnackle did not have the pace on the likes of Ballant. Almost a half-second gap between the fast laps of those two. And Schnackle with a little wiggle right there and a little smooch on the wall, exiting that stadium section. That's turn 16. He just has that back straight to do. Then 17, 18, 19, if you can keep it on the track. But yeah, Josh, it's about taking care of the equipment, taking care of the tires, keeping it on the track, and avoiding incidents. And Schnackle has put all of that together, and his reward, a 13-second gap to P2. That car in the background is not Fernandez, I don't think. I think that's a lap car. So Schnackle has completely driven off here. Oh, no, that is Fernandez.
No, it is. And, I thought it wasn't either, but you're right. It is. That is a big gap seeing represented. You don't usually get a straightaway shot like that. That's 12 seconds long down to the back of the straight, but this straightaway being so long, you can just watch them coming, as we actually got Levi Powell and Matt Thompson fighting each other again. Ballant still up there fighting Ron Wolf for a position, so that's not over yet either. To try to keep an eye on that, Schnackle's got to be getting close to finishing this lap. This is going to be the checkered for Schnackle, so as long as he can bring her across the line here, he is good to go for a win today. Looks like he already did.
Schnackle making that last run out of turn 19 onto that start-finish straight, and Schnackle is going to be snacking on a victory, and that's not even the start-finish straight. Yeah, Schnackle on his cool-down lap now, into it, but it's Schnackle from Fernandez, from Ballant in pro, then Thompson and Powell and Hosey. Hosey with that epic drive, and where's he now? Plus 17. The hard charger by a mile is your challenger podium. Then it's going to be Bell from Sicchetti, from Colin Olson in your AM category. But yeah, some pretty good racing out here, Josh, and some pretty messy racing. And these drivers have done very, very well on some very difficult courses. We had them in Brands Hatch. I thought that was going to be a demolition derby. They did great out there. They also did great on the Red Bull Ring, another very difficult, high-risk kind of technical road course, and they did well out here. But this hot Miami track, the curbs, the walls, proved to be too much for a lot of these drivers. I think the bottom 10 drivers off the lead lap, which we very rarely see in this series.
Yeah, I think honestly, this place is pretty racy. It's wide, and you can really get up the inside of someone. And maybe some of the other ones we had are so technical that it's a little bit harder to get side by side like that. Where around here, you can. And that one section, honestly, just it killed a bunch of people today. I think we kind of nailed it there on the trying to get off the pedals, and you sort of have two minds through that section. Some people really taking it cautious and kind of getting on the brakes, and others just trying to get through it really quick and kind of hop over it. And we saw the two kind of colliding today. But I really think we should come here again and race here again, because that was a great race out of everybody. You can see, damaged cars up at the front, some new winners. I really like it when it gets shook up like this. So even though we had a big incident at the front, that's really bad. We got a great race out of it in the end, and do have to apologize for missing the start finish there for Jeff Schnackle. Great win for him today. Hard to find where they are on track sometimes around this place. It looks so similar in so many places. We're getting used to it here too. Only the second time I've been here.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the second race I've called here as well. And let's see. Oh, look, who is that? Dylan Coyle accidentally went in the wrong room, and now he's gone. But as we wait for the field to come across, Josh, we didn't get to the season points here so far.
Yeah, let's see if we can rip that off. Yeah.
Can squeeze that in while we wait for our donuts to be delivered down here and get our drivers into the interview room.
Yeah, so we'll start up with Pro here, JR. So just keep in mind, everyone watching, this is before tonight's broadcast. So this was coming into the show tonight.
Yeah, and so there you go. It is. Oh, wait a minute. We are now on race results. It is Schnackle, Fernandez, Ballant from Wolf, from Jay Bass. That'll get you to P5. Then Labano, Parrish, Bailing, Brennan, David Moore, David Fench, and Neil Campa. That is that are your pro results here from Miami. And look at that gap up front. Actually, gaps up and down that field as the field got really spread out from some incidents as the thing unfolded. But here is your challenge results. Here be your challenge results. Let's say here are your challenge results. It's Thompson from Powell, from Charlie Hosey, the hard charger by a mile. Freddie Weaver and Brandon Smith wound up the top five. Then it's Gabalda and Sancinelli, Combe, Mike Nickham, and Dave Blair. That'll get you to P10. Then Andrus, Kennedy, Gazenda, and Aaron Bray finishes 15 laps down after getting involved in some of those body panel smashing events early on. There's your AMs. It is Andy Bell, Joe Zacchetti, and Colin Olson are your podium. Then Cossack, Casey Want, and Scott Brooks in P7. And
let's see if we can get some points here quickly. Yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
You know what? I clicked show on results instead of championship, so we'll click that one off first. But here's your pro standings for before this race, JR.
There we go. And a couple of folks who didn't show. Well, no, Bast was here. Malone was not. I don't recall. Well, Parrish was here as well, but he finished in P16 minus 12. So these results may be shaken up after this rough and tumble race here at Miami. But there it is: Bast, Malone, Parrish, Fernandez, and Jeff Schnackle sitting in P5. You know that he's going to move up. I wouldn't be surprised if he was P1 when we go through these points next time around. Here's your challengers: Thompson, Cone, Powell, Gazenda, and Weaver are your top five. Then Sancinelli, Blair, Kennedy, Smith, and Hosea. And there are the rest of your challengers. And here's your AM: Sacchetti, Bell, Cossack, Want, and Eschman. And Sacchetti has a pretty good grip on that top step, but there could be some movement in actually all these categories, Josh, after all of the wild events that took place out here. But let's go ahead and bring in our winner here. Always a test of my Discord skills, but here he is, Jeff Schnackle. And Jeff, my goodness, what a drive. You just had to dodge a few flaming barrels there early on, and then it kind of turned into a track day for you. You had a 15-second gap behind you by the time this one was over. So tell our audience how you maintain your concentration and keep being racy when you have that kind of gap behind you.
Yeah, I'm going to be completely honest, man. I have no idea how I got through that stuff on lap one. I just stuck to apex and just prayed to God that nobody swung back left into me. But yeah, no, I just really, honestly, just lifted and coasted for a majority of the race after that, I was just trying to make sure I hit my marks. Super high track temp, so it was super greasy out there. So just had to be patient, let the car come to me, and just make sure that I could keep the car underneath me.
You know what? That is some really great advice. And pro tip, kids, from tonight's winner, Jeff Schnackle told you how to get one of these Mustangs through a 40-minute race on a road course with these kind of brutal track temperatures. Lift, coast, and take it easy and take care of the equipment. And top step of the podium for Schnackle. So excellent job, man. And we just showed the season points results, and I gotta say, a lot of the drivers ahead of you, it's very tight at the top of the list. I think you were in P5 coming into this. A lot of the drivers ahead of you had cataclysmic results here, and that may have placed you up into P1 on the season. So what are your thoughts about that?
That is absolutely insane, honestly. If you told me I'd be leading pro my fourth season, I would honestly have I wouldn't believe you, honestly. This is insane. Yeah, it's just an unreal feeling. My first win for actual points here, so yeah, I'm through the roof, ecstatic.
Well, excellent, man. Congratulations again on a fantastic drive, and showing the patience and showing the racecraft and kind of showing the wisdom on how to get the car to the finish line in one piece. That was really the difference for a lot of people out there, not just you. So thank you so much for stopping by. And as we wrap up, is there anyone you would like to thank or give a shout out to tonight?
Yeah, definitely. Just shout out Jay Bass. I've always got him in my ear every single race. Shout out Tom Wentz, CW3 liveries. I think he's done probably half the Mustang field now. Always killing it with the liveries out there. So yeah, just thank you guys for always being here every single week as well on the broadcast. You guys kill it. Couldn't do this without you guys.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the kind words. We definitely enjoy watching and commentating on these, and I wouldn't miss it. So thanks so much, Jeff, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Have a good night.
All right, and I'll tell you what, Josh, why don't you check in here with Matt Thompson, who came across in P1 for the Challengers.
Yeah, Matt, I believe that is a P1 for Challenger and a P3 overall. Great result tonight. We saw some pretty awesome shots of you hanging it loose towards the walls, getting some passes done, and ended up with a really clean car in the end, too. So maybe you can tell us exactly how Miami went for you tonight. What are the challenges out there?
That track doesn't have much grip with these cars, and it's tight. So yeah, it was wild. I don't know how I got out of there with a clean car. I had lots of contact. I got into walls, and I supposedly had no damage and 0 incidents. So
wow,
I just held on to it. Didn't let the mistakes throw me too far back. I found neutral on that wreck in the first lap, chicane, lost a few positions, and then kind of got tied up behind a couple guys that I think I had a little more pace then, but then they had both of them had some incidents, so I got around them and got back up and had a fight with Levi to the end. That was back and forth for the last 4 or 5 laps.
Yeah, absolutely. There was so many battles going on all over the track, Matt. It was actually hard to keep up with, but we saw you caught up in some of them, and you're able to pull out a 3rd place today around a really hard track, just staying alive. Actually getting a 0x at the end of this is quite the achievement, my man, so you should definitely pat yourself on the back for that one. There was a lot of attrition out there today. It's all about kind of decision making and getting those passes right. I was mentioning during the broadcast there that I don't think many of us have actually raced around here too much. We may have done laps and practiced, but finding those places to block a pass or make a pass, probably not quite ironed out yet. And we saw some of that tonight. Did you find it was a little bit maybe indecisive trying to where to pass, where to block here, or do you have a pretty good handle on this place so far?
Well, it like I say, I bought the track last Tuesday and drove it for the first time. So, yeah, I didn't know it very well, but the corners the big passing zones are pretty traditional. So it's like, hey, you're going into a hairpin, take the inside, don't brake too late and blow the corner, and you can usually come out okay. Yeah, that back section was the area that was just, it was so easy to make a small bobble and lose half a second on the car behind you. So the main corners were fun. Okay, the other end of the hairpin before the back straight, that corner, I figured out how to set it up to get a pretty good run, and I think that's what helped me out a lot tonight.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely some little quirks and character to this track that need to be learned. We are off to Bathurst, I believe, on our next round. So another place where the walls are there. Very technical course. There's kind of specialty drivers every once in a while around there too. You kind of have to, some people love to run laps there and they have hundreds and hundreds of laps and they just love it. Other people don't. Which category are you in for that one? What do you think the strategy is going to be around there?
Well, I did about 130 laps on Saturday. And
hey, we did too. Yep.
So,
how'd you do?
Got P9.
Excellent.
I think
top 10.
I think P9, or we were top 10 in our set, in our split.
Good for you guys.
I got 4 stints without any significant damage, so I take that as a win.
Right on. Yeah, we pulled a 7th place, had a spin or two, but we brought it back. I think we were in 32nd place at one point and brought it back to 7th place. So we did pretty good, probably did a little better. But yeah, if you've turned a bunch of laps around there in the bit, you are ready to go. Very different machinery around there. How do you like this car around there? What's kind of the style of that? It's going to be a difficult one, I think, in this.
I've enjoyed this car there until I don't. The last time we were there, I locked in. I got into the ABS and ended up off the track with Finney. Oof.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard one. I think there's a lot of weight moving on this thing coming downhill, but you guys are always so good at that. We're really looking forward to it.
Yep, looking forward to it. That's always a fun track. So hopefully it'll favor me this time.
Cool, right on, man. Well, you got some good pace out there. Car's looking good. So anybody you'd like to thank before we let you go?
Thank you guys for the broadcast. Thank Nickham and Sanchinelli for the league. Thanks Ed for Frito Sport. And Mark Cohn had my number until he got into the accident tonight. As if he stays clean, he has me. It seems like, but I've stayed clean more than he has. So, he's pushing me real hard, and it's a lot of fun having him on the team with us. So, shout out to Mark for that.
Cool. Always good to have a good competitor out there for sure, Matt. Well, we'll catch you on the next one, man. Have a good week and take care.
Thank you.
All right, that was Matt Thompson, P1 in the challenge class, and gets a podium coming across in P3. And last but not least, Andy Bell. And Andy, I don't even know where to begin. Your race experience, ridiculous. You came in here with some insane pace to begin with, and holy cow, there's a wreck early on, and you're running in P2, and you hung on to finish deep into the top 10 and finish in P7, P1 in class. But tell me what it was like being an amateur and running with the big dogs up front early.
Oh, it was intense, but fortunately I got a lot of seat time, and so I was feeling comfortable on track, and glad a lot of other folks weren't. But yeah, the wreck, I saw that inside was open, and I knew I could hit those curbs from my practice, and so I just kind of got lucky there. But then lap 2, I managed to follow Schnackle into the wall. I think he was just net code on my screen into the wall, but I just obstructed my line a little bit. Took some damage there and spent the rest of the race just trying not to let the loose rear end take off out from under me, and just tried to hang on to it, and lost several spots, but kept ahead of Joe, and what a race.
Yeah, lost a couple spots, but kept a cool head, kept it on the track, and still managed to come across the line with about a 12-second gap back to Joe Cicchetti, who finished in P10. So fantastic work out there. And I'm glad you mentioned the seat time. It came up a number of times in the broadcast. This is a fairly new track, and the drivers who spent the time to really get familiar with it, it's a lot harder than it looks out here, especially in these conditions. And you're one of those guys that took the time, and that pace showed early with a really good performance in qualifying. So very well done, Andy. Great drive. And as we wrap up, is there anyone you would like to thank or give a shout out to today?
Oh, I was glad that Joe gave me the challenge he did, and a lot of camaraderie behind the scenes over the last week. So looking forward to more with him. Also, my buddy 3D printed me some new wheel gear to keep my hub on. So shout out to Daniel for that. My family's probably watching again. Wife's probably watching. So love all their support. And Ed inviting a lot of feedback this week, so I really appreciated that. Open to some input on the league, and obviously thanks to Mike and Ed for running the league. And as I said last week, all the guys just showing up and making this a possibility. And you guys at Slow Motion Broadcasting, let me go ahead and be a viewer after the race. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Awesome. And shout out to your fans who got to watch you wheel that Mustang across the line in P1. So great job, and we'll see you next week at Mount Panorama.
Looking forward to it. Have a great week.
All right, cheers. All right, that was Andy Bell, your winner in amateur, manages to hang on to P7 despite damage. And Josh, I think I missed that, but Bell lost a couple positions, but still wheeled it pretty good and hung on for a victory in class. And I'll tell you what, folks, while you're sitting here looking at your screen, whether you're on your phone, your smart TV, tablet, laptop, go ahead and subscribe to Slow Motion Broadcasting and be sure and hit that notification icon so that you don't miss any of the action. And we have got some action coming up tomorrow night. Sim Racers Group Formula 3 will race at the historic Silverstone circuit. That is going to be a fantastic one. Saturday, we'll have Weekend Warrior Formula Vs at Okayama. Sunday, Weekend Warrior Formula Fords will be back over at Silverstone. And 1 week from tonight, get out your highlighter, get out your Sharpie, circle it, underline it, highlight it. These cars will run at Mount Panorama, Bathurst, and it is going to be fantastic. You do not want to miss that one. But I am J.R. Gregory. On behalf of myself, my partner, Joshua Wilkie, and everyone here at SMB, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are, and we'll see you back here real soon.